The heartwarming bond between Dunk and Egg is really what keeps A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms going. For me, this is the absolute centre of the story. The relationship these two hold is truly magical and something we haven't seen in the Game of Thrones world for so long. Honestly, it was so refreshing to actually have less equaling more and it actually being worth it. You know, 6 episodes at the beginning, I was thinking, is that really going to be any good? It must be such a short story. I've had many friends read the books and tell me that some of these stories from Dunk's era aren't actually that long, so I can understand why they made that decision. But ultimately, it was the absolute right decision. Every single episode had me connected, wanting more, and ultimately looking forward to the end of this story, of which, in my opinion, the only downside is the conclusion comes in episode 5. It seems to be a new thing TV shows are doing at the moment, where they put basically the finale in the previous, in the penultimate episode, should I say, and then the final episode is more of a wrap up. Now, a lot of people do like that. You know, we recently had Stranger Things finale, where the entire pretty much last hour of that last episode was a wrap up, but obviously they don't really have the luxury of doing that in this show, being only 6 episodes. So I think we really got to the point quite quickly here. We know what the mission is from Dunk. We know he is a hedge knight, but he wants to prove himself. We know that he wants people to remember the sir that he, you know, worked alongside and helped for so many years. And he manages to stumble across the Targaryens. He manages to get himself in rooms that he probably shouldn't get in, quite accidentally. But, you know, his charm and his wit, his honesty as well. You know, I think everyone can tell he's not there to prank anyone or to be a pretender. He is completely true to his word. And yeah, the ultimate episode for me was episode 5. I just honestly enjoyed this so much. There are aspects of all the other episodes that I could talk about, but I think to keep this short and sweet, we can talk about, you know, the hero episode, which is the battle. And, you know, the way that the king joins in, he's killed by his brother, that whole storyline, the way that developed, I found to be really good, actually. Like, I didn't think I'd care so much about them. They don't actually spend that much time on screen with you, but it's pretty much in that 4th episode where you realise the sort of person the king actually is. And yeah, or king to be, should I say, your grace. And I really think that relationship that he develops with Dunk really, you know, makes you feel more connected to the story, and that this is actually a little bit bigger than just Dunk right now. And you start to feel a little bit more involved with the actual story of the Seven Kingdoms, which this doesn't start out that way. We get lots of shots of Dunk, you know, eating, drinking under a tree, sleeping under a tree. We don't really necessarily think it's going to go down that route. So the fact that we get there and it still stays grounded, I think that's really impressive. We must talk about Dexter Ansell's performance as Egg in this. I honestly think it's one of the best child acting performances of all time. He's so endearing and loving and wise. You know, you just want to keep him protected. You want Dunk to constantly be, you know, with him. You don't want him to ever leave. You know, you kind of have a feeling that's not going to be the case, and we know further seasons are coming. But it really does make you feel at the end there that, oh my goodness, you know, are Dunk and Egg actually going to separate? That would just be really sad. But yeah, you know, the way he sort of plays off being a Targaryen and really wants to be a squire and learn so much. He has that wise head on his shoulders that, you know, Dunk does need for advice from, you know, an 8-year-old or however old he is. And yeah, you really feel the connection with the family as well. You know, he's the last son. I think the way that he explains how much he wants to be with Dunk and how much he cares about Dunk, to the point where he wants Dunk to kill his brother. You know, he does not care about the standard lineage. I think the fact that the dragons are gone from this point in the storyline was actually a very big deal for the Targaryens in general. I think it made a lot of the younger ones' interest nowhere near as much as, you know, in House of the Dragon, because they knew they were going to get a dragon. Egg isn't really bothered about dragon or power. He kind of just wants to learn and develop and be in the real world. And that's what makes this so relatable. A lot of it feels very real world. It doesn't feel like you're watching the Game of Thrones. It feels like you're watching the people who would live in the Game of Thrones world, which I think is why it's done so well. So yeah, A Knight of Seven Kingdoms gets a glowing review from me. I genuinely put it around an 8, 9 out of 10. I'm not sure exactly. There were parts I didn't enjoy about it, and ultimately I would like to see more and a slightly bigger scale, but I appreciate this is season 1 and there's a lot of places this can go. I'm really excited to see Dunk and Egg's future and what they end up getting up to. You know, it's going to be really exciting. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, please let me know down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Anything you can do to help me get a few more views, get a few more subscribers, I'd really appreciate it. I love talking about films and TV shows. They aren't always perfect reviews, but they're not meant to be. They're meant to be just me chatting to a couple of friends. So if you like that, then please stick around. All right, I'll speak to you next time, guys. Peace.